In last week's episode, we talked about Minions and asked whether or not posting Minion Hate counts as advertising. And we're going to talk about your thoughts regarding that. But before we do, I want to clarify two things I said in the comment response video to the 3 Laws of the Internet episode. And this is not going to be something that we do a lot because otherwise we'll get stuck in a rabbit hole of commenting on comments and responding to responses and blah, 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 blah. But these are things that I think are important to address. The existence of inequality is not a matter of opinion. Inequality, including that between men and women, exists. It is a fact. The work we do on Idea Channel, however, will occasionally necessitate interacting with ideas or people who believe the opposite to be true. It's my responsibility to interact with those people and those ideas in as friendly a way as possible and to not dismiss them as crazy or ridiculous out of hand. Because that's not how conversations begin. That's how fights begin, and for better or worse, Idea Channel is not about fights, it's about conversation. So those are clarifications that I wanted to make, and thank you for listening to them, and I'm gonna try really hard in the next comment response video to not clarify these clarifications, because then we will officially have fallen down a rabbit hole. So yeah, let's talk about Minions. To devoted pupa on the subreddit and everybody else who begrudgingly heard me out on this one because they were so sick of Minions, thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I'm flattered that you would suffer through Minions for me. That's like a birthday present level good, so thank you. Kairi, Oblivious, and a bunch of other people pointed out that this is also maybe exactly what happened with My Little Pony, that there was an initial spark of interest, a huge backlash, and then a much larger spark of interest. And this rings true for me. That was exactly my experience with My Little Pony, that I saw people getting very, very upset about it and then had to sort of go and find out what it is. And it makes me wonder how many shows have such a great success in light, or because of some kind of backlash that has occurred, and it's gotta be a small number, right? Has to be. Jedi Bob 5 points out that Minion Hate can reach such a fever pitch that the opposite effect kind of occurs, that you could end up hating the hate of the thing more than the thing itself, which just makes me think of the bizarre alternate universe where the direct experience of Minions is somehow preferable to people complaining about them, and also then I have a shock of recognition that might be the world we live in. I need to lie down. Kongshell the Geek brings up the related concept of the Streisand Effect, which says basically that the more you attempt to keep something under wraps or to keep it from spreading, the more it is essentially guaranteed that will happen. And I wonder how this relates to the posting of Minion Hate, because, is Minion Hate about just sort of having this cathartic, fist-banging, flailing experience of just posting your hate? Or does it have this aim of actually wanting to keep people from going to go see the movies and thus invoking the Streisand Effect? I don't know. I get the sense that it's more just straight complaining, but maybe I'm wrong. In theaters now. Readcomplain and a couple other people brought up the really interesting and I think important point of applying a lot of this to social issues, like, can you talk about things like racism or sexism without in some way advertising them? And I think that there are levels to this, right? The first level is it's probably going to be hard to find someone. You're going to have a hard time finding someone who doesn't know what racism or sexism is. But you might come across someone who understands it in a general sense, but not in a specific sense. And I think in that case, it is maybe imperative to talk to that person about the larger sort of general ideas or place that those things have in society, and that, to unveil those things to them is not an advertisement so much as it is, a warning. I guess it depends upon how you put it, how you put it together. But then the third part of it is, I think, the sort of more nuanced and tricky part, which is talking about things like racism and sexism and the large ideas and their general operation without in some way advertising or enlarging the platform of the people or organizations that further or support things like racism and sexism. And I think that is a more tricky and nuanced situation, but also I think one that's really important to try to do in not in all situations, but in a lot of them. Lily Smith-Mullen makes what I think is a really apt comparison between Minions and Shrek, both of which occupy not similar, but I think related sort of, I don't know, internet meme zones. And it makes me wonder about the kind of ironic love of Shrek that exists or has come to light as an effect of its popularity in internet culture, and the hatred of Minions that has happened as a result of its ubiquity. Sometimes related, I think, to, you know, internet memes, but sometimes related just to the fact that it's on all of these products everywhere. And I wonder whether or not there is gonna be ever a time where Minion memetizing turns into the kind of celebratory thing that we tend to see with Shrek. I think you see it a little bit now. Like I see a lot of Minion and Sonic memes, which I don't recommend looking for them. But they do seem more celebratory than a lot of the other Minion memes. And so who knows? It could be on the horizon. That could be our future. And with that, this comment is ogre. Fixsedys, I'm not sure that it's quite that bad yet. Like, the last time I was in Target, I saw, it was Star Wars, Angry Birds, Jenga, which is too many things at once. And as far as I know, Minions aren't there yet. It's not that level of infernal merchandising, but maybe we'll get there. Let's see. So, like, maybe MacGyver, Minions, Monopoly. I would probably play that. Lemon and Cupcakes talks about their experience working on an author's message board and how when haters show up to hate, the people who love the thing that is being criticized get to develop counter arguments and to sort of reinforce the things that are great or amazing about the brand or the message of the media being discussed. And while I can see how this could be true about Minions, I wonder what the counter argument to Minion Hate would be, because I have honestly not seen a lot of it. Is it that it's it's the point that they are everywhere? Even in the Idea Channel comment thread, which is normally a place of great discussion where people have differing viewpoints and talk about them, there was not a lot of Minion support. And so it makes me wonder what the what the Minion front is sort of holds as its banner. I don't know. Chris McMahon brings up the really great and important point of earned media impressions as being part of the grand marketing campaign surrounding any piece of major media. That advertising is one thing, but that PR and marketing comprise a whole other set of things. And that EMIs, as they are called, is a kind of thing where, if something is shareable in some way, then you earn an impression based upon its shareability. And this is definitely an important part of this conversation that we didn't discuss. So thank you for bringing this up, Chris. This is a great comment. Links to this one and all the others in the doobly-doo. Amy Kinsman brings up a really great idea that I think doesn't really apply so much to Minions, but does apply to a lot of other popular culture, which is hate about a certain piece of media posted by one group of people can work as advertisement for another group of people. And the example here is Mad Max Fury Road, which, a group of people posted about how it was not a real action film, and that was related to the agency or importance given to the female characters, and that Mad Max wasn't the actual main character, and this was a problem. And for a lot of other people, myself included, that was a selling point, that it made it a more interesting and engaging story. It made it a little bit more unique. And so those group of people, seeing the hate posted by this group of people, ended up going to see the movie in droves. And I think that this is a really great way of talking about the relationship between hate being posted on the internet acting as advertisement for the thing being hated upon. So yeah, this is a great comment. BigShack, you may or may not be very happy to learn that clicking the thumbs down is actually still good for the video. Turns out the best thing you can do if you don't like a YouTube video is nothing. How convenient.